Hey, greetings everybody. Hey, I wanted to do a little bit of a video for mostly for my fellow insurance professionals out there and talk a little bit about distracted driving. Now, you'll notice that I am driving around while I'm doing this video, and that actually is intentional. You know, I used to do this more. I had kind of a bit of a long country drive to and from my office, and thought it'd be a good chance to do videos like this one. And you know, I got a lot of feedback on that. I'd say a lot. It was really just a couple of people, but you know, saying saying how dangerous it really was to do videos like this in the car. And some of that criticism came from, you know, within the industry. And you know, without fail, the people who mentioned this said that this was just like texting and driving. And I was thinking about that lately, and I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about distracted driving. Now, for those who are concerned about me doing this, I'm actually on this really back road in the country. I've yet to see an actual other car on the road since I turned off the main road here, and so I'm intentionally picking this area so I can kind of make the point without actually running into anybody. So distracted driving has been a problem forever, and it didn't start simply with texting. We've been distracted ever since we've started driving. And I can sit here and think about, just in the last week, how many times I've talked to my wife in the car, talked to my kids in the car, I grabbed a burger in the car. It was actually that McDonald's, their hot and spicy McChicken that I really like, and that's so good. It's like it's like a little bit over $1. It's so good. Anyways, listening to the GPS when I'm going to an area that I'm unfamiliar with. These are all examples of distracted driving. And this is an example of that too. I am doing something while I'm driving. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that we're radically impaired. As I'm driving here, I'm keeping my eyes, very firmly on the road. I've, been very careful to observe my turns, to observe the traffic signs, looking out for other vehicles. I am, and anytime we split our brain into more than one task, we lose, there is an impairment there. But in most of the cases of what we do, this is an impairment that we can handle very, very well and very adequately. And if something jumped out in front of me on this drive, and certainly I hope it does not, you're gonna notice me stop talking. I'm not gonna continue the video. I mean, the video is gonna run, but I'm not gonna continue the video. My attention is going to focus. So actually, that was while I was talking about being interrupted, I was interrupted. My phone started ringing. That cut off the video because I'm videoing on my phone, and I decided to park here for just a minute while I regain my thoughts. But you might have seen studies about how when we multitask, we're not actually working as efficiently in two different areas. We are working, significantly less efficiency in both of these areas. And so multitasking in a work environment is certainly not usually something that we won't want to be doing, because we're actually losing efficiency when we do that. We're not gaining efficiency. But when we're doing a couple of things that that we are so used to, and that we are very accomplished at, and don't necessarily need 100% of our concentration on at the same at any given moment. We actually are able to do more than one thing at once, and then suddenly get a sharp focus on something when we need to. And am I saying here that distracted driving is okay? Ideally, no. Ideally, no, but try doing it. I mean, seriously, in all seriousness, try doing it for an extended period of time. It's exhausting. I mean, there's a reason that we run the radio, and there's a reason that we talk with friends, and there's a reason that we listen to podcasts, and we're not giving that thing our 100% full attention, but to dedicate your entire brain power into driving is absolutely exhausting, and you simply cannot do it for an extended period of time. I'm not at all trying to advocate for distracted driving at all. I mean, look, I'm in the insurance business. My goal is less accidents, less loss. I want everybody to be driving safely. So if I believe that, and I do, why am I bringing this up? I'm bringing this up because I think we as insurance professionals can get overly dramatic about distracted driving. When we lump texting in with everything else that we're doing, including having a burger, talking to a passenger in the car, listening to the radio, we're not actually convincing anyone to not listen to the radio. What we're convincing them of is that texting isn't dangerous. You see, we've been driving, I mean, look, I've been driving over 20 years now. And the accidents I've gotten in, or the close calls I've had, have never been the radio's fault. And so, or talking to a passenger. Now look. There's, I'm going to get to the exceptions of that. Don't jump up and down and go, well, no, I know about accidents when they were changing the radio station. That's not what I was talking about. I was talking about the music. But so if you tell me, as an expert in this topic, that texting is the same level of danger as having fast food or listening to music, what you are trying to get me to do is to stop eating fast food or listening to music. But I know from my experience that I'm perfectly able to do these things in the car. And so how am I interpreting it? I'm interpreting it as, well, if I can do those things, maybe I can do texting too. And these are kind of the subconscious ways that we look at these things. Instead of trying to lump every distraction in together into one plate and saying this is all equally bad, we really need to make the distinction that texting is far more dangerous than any of the other things. And why is that? Because it takes your eyes off the road for an extended period of time. And this is the same reason why people have accidents when they're changing the radio station or changing the song, because they do this. I'm looking at the road here, changing the radio station for however long. A lot of stuff happens in that point in time. When I'm driving around with the camera on, chatting, my eyes haven't left the road. And so that is an impairment. And it is a danger. But it's a different category of danger. And I think we need to be honest. And we need to be upfront on that. Because we're not doing anybody any favors by calling it all the same. and saying that, like my friends did. Me driving around on a country road where nothing's happening, not taking my eyes off the road, but just chatting into a microphone, chatting into a camera, is the same as texting, and it's simply not. I think this is important because I think the education on texting is so important. In the last few years, we Americans in general, we've had a decline in the number of accidents per year for several years until, 2015, when it shot through the roof. And there are differing factors to that. But I'm fully believe that the number one factor that was texting. And because I think texting is such a critical issue, I don't want to just lump it under this general heading of distractions while driving. It's in a completely different category, because not only does it turn more of your attention away, because you're reading, you're reading for comprehension, you're trying to formulate what's being said to you and how to respond, but you're also taking your eyes down to texting. That is a whole different category of what we're talking about than when we're talking about me talking to my wife when we're going to church, or listening to a podcast or radio, or even running the camera when I talk to myself. These things are dangerous too, and they need to be handled very, very carefully. And the drivers, while engaging in having lunch on the road or something like that, need to be very, very aware of their surroundings and their own ability, and making sure that they're observing everything that's happening. But I'm going to argue that with experience, these things can be done safely on the road, whereas texting, no matter the level of experience, cannot be. And so it is because I'm so passionate on the texting situation that I want to make sure that we're highlighting that specifically, and making sure that we stamp that particular practice out as soon as humanly possible, and that we preach each and every day that texting is one of the most dangerous things that you can actually be doing on the road. Really appreciate you watching.